101.7 KSAM and the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. It's time for the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Huntsville coach Rodney Southern. Live from True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Tonight, Coach Southern talks about last week's game and what to expect from this week's opponent. Now, let's go live to the coach and your host, Rob Hipp.
All right, friends, well, welcome to a new edition of the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. I'm Rob Hipp, and want to welcome you into the broadcast tonight. We're actually doing things remotely here, but we do want to give a special thank you, as always, to our good friends at True Texas Barbecue. We appreciate them and excited to be able to do this here again live tonight. So once again, thanks for being a part of this show. We've got a great show lined up tonight as we'll be talking to many guests. Also, Coach Southern joining us as well. And we've got player interviews. I'm going to bring on, though, right now, Josh Criswell of the Huntsville Item. Josh, good to see you, man. Been a fun week and looking forward to the game Friday. We'll talk a little bit here in a minute as we go back, but how are things going with you tonight?
Doing fantastic. Appreciate you having me on. You know, really exciting win last week for the Hornets, top 10 win over A&M Consolidated, and they're going to look to keep that rolling this week, you know, down in Rosenberg.
Well, we're looking forward to that one. You know, Josh, in this first segment, we'll bring on Coach Southern here before too long. But the Huntsville Hornets, of course, defeating A&M Consolidated 27-7 in Huntsville this past Friday. There was three forced turnovers in that game. The defense had another strong showing. Kind of your quick takeaways on that, Josh. It was a fun one.
Yeah, you know, obviously the easy takeaway is the defense, you know, holds the number 3 team in the state to over 3 touchdowns below their season scoring average, on top of, I think, 11 sacks, and ended up totaling up 5.5 from Quaterian Riles. But, you know, I was really impressed, too, about how that rushing attack came alive over on the other side of the ball. You know, Jalen McClain with his second straight 100-yard game. And then that connection between junior quarterback A.J. Wilson and senior receiver Jordan Woodbury continues to grow. A pair of touchdowns for those two. So, you know, really all around a really strong performance for their Hornets. Probably their best well-rounded performance this season.
Well, we've got a jam-packed show this evening, so make sure to stick with us. We're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to head coach Rodney Southern. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show on the all-new Hornet Nation Broadcast Network.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly. True Texas Barbecue presents the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Rob Hipp and head coach Rodney Southern live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Come early as seating will be limited. Sting 'em Hornets.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to Monica Starks, who needed to hire for her company, GS Group.
As the owner of a construction company, finding the right people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter finds the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists.
And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Welcome back, friends. We are live tonight here and want to thank our good friends at True Texas Barbecue as the Hornet Nation Coaches Show brought to you by True Texas Barbecue, doing things remotely here this week. But as we start digging into the meat of the program, another solid win against a Tiger team that was ranked number 3 in 5A last week. Let's bring on head coach Rodney Southern, who is joining us now. Good evening, Coach Southern. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Rob. Thanks.
Well, it's good to see you as always, Coach. As we look back here in this first segment, Josh and I briefly talked about A&M Consolidated. Your Hornets defeating them 27-7 in Huntsville this past Friday, forcing 3 turnovers. The defense had another strong showing, only allowing 7 points. The offense starting to find their groove as well. Quarterback A.J. Wilson, 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing. Quaterian Riles had a rushing touchdown as well as 6 sacks. Coach, I mentioned it, another solid win. This one against a very tough Tiger team that was ranked 3rd in 5A. How big was this win for your team this past Friday, Coach?
Well, you know, any district win's big, but obviously this one against an A&M team that historically for years has always either been ranked or right on the verge of being ranked and has played extremely well for, you know, as long as I've been in Texas. You've heard about A&M Consolidated, and to be able to line up and play them the way we played and to be able to physically control the line of scrimmage, which I thought we did on both sides of the ball. I thought our O-line took a huge step the other night as far as getting our running backs another opportunity to get over 100 yards and obviously to protecting AJ. But, a win in district is a big one, and we knew the first two were going to be challenges for us, and we were able to play well in both of them. And I was really proud of how well our kids played Friday night.
We're talking to head coach Rodney Southern here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. Again, thanks for joining us tonight. Coach, the offense really starting to gel over these past two games now. How do you feel about the development so far through these two games now in district play with your offense?
Well, I think AJ's getting more confident, which, as a young starter, you're always going to have whatever it is, whether it's, trusting your O-line, trusting your reads, whatever the circumstances is with your quarterback, you're always going to have some of those things early, especially when, now he's the guy and everybody knows he's the guy. But, I think his play, our offensive line has gotten more consistent every Friday night, and we've got one senior up there and the rest of those guys are all young guys that are going to be back with us. Jordan Woodbury, we expected to play well offensively because Jordan's been around and he understands what it takes to play at a high level. I think Justin Butcher and Jalen McLean and Jamarcus Howard and a lot of other guys that are really getting their feet wet varsity-wise have really stepped up. And, when all those things kind of start to happen together and being able to get into the, to get into our bigger, heavy packages and get in the eye and run the football the way we have, it gives – number one, it gives your O-line confidence. It gives your quarterback confidence because now you could play action off of that. So a lot of things are going the right way in our program right now, and obviously offensively, the better we get, it's just going to make our defense better.
Coach, got Josh Criswell with me. I'll bring him on here after my next question. Wanted to ask you, 3 forced turnovers last week, and, man, we're talking about Sack City. We've got to put a new city on the map there for that one. 11 total sacks from the defense. Q Riles had 6 of those. Coach, a question I want to ask you is really where else can your defense improve? They have played phenomenal. In fact, maybe one of the best defenses in the state of Texas here to start this season.
Well, I think, we've lost a couple guys. We lost Sebastian Patterson, which was our other defensive end. And the good thing is we really haven't missed a beat. But I think you can always get better at the little bitty things of recognizing formations, recognizing what teams are going to do to you. And I don't say it enough as a head coach. Scott Schroeder, our defensive coordinator, and our defensive staff have put our kids in such good positions week in and week out. And people have gotten to a point where they have to max protect to try to throw the ball. And when you do that, you're limiting the number and the types of routes you can run. So, there's a lot of credit to go around. Our kids are executing game plans extremely well. But, again, Coach Schroeder and our defensive guys have really done a good job of putting our kids in the right spot too.
Coach, Josh Criswell here, off to a 5-0 start, up to number 4 in the state, number 5 in the Houston area media rankings. Coach, a lot of new pieces to this team, a lot of guys that have stepped up in bigger roles this season. For you at this point, we're at about the midway point in the season. What's the thing that surprised you the most about this team so far?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is, the new guys, or quote new guys. The scary part is most of these kids now have been in our program, since they were in the 6th grade or going into 7th grade. So, how we do things offensively and defensively, and even in the kicking game, they know the terminology. But probably the biggest thing is the level of maturity in some of our kids that are now on the field. And Trey Garrett's one you're going to talk to tonight that, was a JV guy last year. And all of a sudden, not only are you the starting center, but you're kind of the guy that's being asked to handle some protections and handle some things that you've got to handle. Jadarian White coming back out with us this year. nicknamed Tank. Tank's always been a good football player, but Tank has become an exceptional football player this year. We expected our front seven guys defensively to be pretty good. The thing that probably is more surprising is how consistent they've been. And we didn't know a whole lot about Jalen McClain in terms of varsity, but, you can watch, especially the last 2 weeks, Jalen's a tough running back. And probably one surprise there is how well Justin Butcher runs with the football in his hands as well. Because he's been on the varsity since he was a freshman, but he's always been at receiver. He runs downhill like he weighs 260 pounds, and he's about $1.50 maybe. So, all those things they're not surprising, but they're things that I think we've matured probably a little faster than I expected.
Right. And Coach, you talk about, those two running backs, Jalen McClain and Justin Butcher, and then as well, that offensive line that's really come along as of late. That rushing attack, something that, if anything's been slept on a little bit, I think that might be the aspect of the offense. Over 160 yards a game. And the thing that I think's impressed me even more is over 4 yards a carry. So that means y'all are getting that consistent push up front. Coach, how big has the development of that running game this year been for taking pressure off of AJ and just making the offense more dynamic as a whole?
Well, probably the biggest thing, and a lot of times people don't realize it, when you rush the ball as well, especially the last 2 weeks, it takes a lot of pressure off your defense. Our defense, and we knew coming in this year, we knew coming in last year that, we were going to have to rely on those guys. And it's okay to rely on them, but you can't put them in tough situations, where they got to play after 3 and outs and they've got to play a lot of snaps defensively. We didn't play I don't remember exactly, but I don't think we played more than 45 or 50 snaps defensively the other night. And that allows us to take Ed and Brian and Q and use them a little bit offensively. We've used Calvin Simmons some offensively. So, it takes a lot of pressure, probably more off of our defense, but it also allows AJ to be able to do some things that AJ naturally does, which is move with the football in his hand. Whether it's off play action, bootleg, whatever it might be. And if it's 3rd and 1 and we need to get a yard and we can get in the eye and line up and come right at somebody, that makes your O-line a little bit more confident because now they know all I got to do is get off the ball and we get a yard and we got a first down.
We're talking to head coach Rodney Southern here in our first segment from the Huntsville Hornets. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. We'll step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll look ahead on the road as we are facing the Lamar Consolidated Mustangs. More action coming your way. Keep it tuned in right here on the all-new Hornet Nation Broadcast Network.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly. True Texas Barbecue presents the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Rob Hipp and head coach Rodney Southern live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Come early as seating will be limited. Sting 'em Hornets.
Hello everyone, it's Sandy with Joetta's Boutique in Huntsville. Our storefront just celebrated a 2-year anniversary, and we have lots of new arrivals just in time for the holidays and NFR. Come see us in West Hill Mall, Monday through Friday, 10:30 to 6, and Saturdays, 10:30 to 5. And remember, you can always shop 24/7 at joettas.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Joetta's Boutique, vintage and new, classy and glam.
It's Truck Month here at Wiesner in Huntsville. Hi folks, Clint Mack here with Wiesner in Huntsville, and it's Truck Month. That means you get the best deals of the year on your favorite Chevy truck, Tahoe, and Suburban. We've got 3/4 tons, 1 tons, and half tons. When they say they don't have it, come to Wiesner of Huntsville and we'll get it. We've got trucks starting at $28,986 and an Equinox for only $16,990. So for the best selection, you need to hurry to Wiesner in Huntsville or shop us online at WiesnerHuntsville.com. Chevy, find new roads.
Welcome back, friends, as we continue the Hornet Nation Coaches Show here on 101.7 KSAM and the all-new Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. I'm Rob Hipp as we look ahead here in this second segment now on the road this Friday facing Lamar Consolidated Mustangs. The Mustangs winless so far this season, going 0-5. Last week they were on their bye before they suffered a 56-0 dismantling handed to them by A&M Consolidated. We're now joined again by head coach Rodney Southern of the Huntsville Hornets. Coach, this Mustang team, talking about Lamar, obviously hungry for a win. What's the current mindset heading into this one coming up on Friday, Coach?
Well, it's always scary when you play as well as we played the other night, and then you turn around and you've got to play a team that hasn't won a game. But you got to be really, really careful with teams like this because, they played Richmond Foster to start the year, who's, I think, preseason in the top 3 or 4 in Division I. And then they, of course, last week opened district against A&M Consolidated, or 2 weeks ago. And, and A&M got after them early, turned the ball over several times, and A&M was able to jump out to a 28-0 halftime lead. So, but in between there, they've lost a game by 1, they've lost a game by 2, and a game by 5 against a 6A and 2 5A Division I team. So, they're a scary, scary team in terms of just athletic ability. The quarterback reminds me a whole lot of AJ. He's about 6'3", 6'4", long, lean guy. He's got a cannon for an arm. If you let him get out of the pocket, he's not afraid to move around and run and then throw it sometimes as far as he can throw it. They've made some big plays doing that. Defensively, they're very athletic like they always are. I think the thing is they had a coaching change last year, so they're obviously in transition in terms of what they're doing offensively and defensively, and turnovers have killed them in some critical situations, especially those games that they lost by 1 and 2 early. So, it's a scary always when you have the success we had the other night. And I told them Monday morning, don't worry about people patting you on the back and talking about rankings and all that kind of stuff, because if I'm at A&M Consolidated or if I'm at Lamar Consolidated, I'm not talking about rankings. I'm talking about what do I have to do to beat Huntsville. So we got to be really careful with that. But at the same time, I think, our kids understand who we are and they understand what's at stake.
Coach Josh Criswell here. You mentioned that athletic weapon that Lamar Consolidated has at quarterback. How much of a new challenge is that for a defensive line that, really has had its way with opposing quarterbacks this season?
Well, the biggest thing is this will be the first offensive line that we've seen that's probably, from a physical standpoint, bigger than we are. They've got an O-lineman that weighs 385. They've got 2 more that are 310 to 325. They've got one kind of shorter guy, but heck, he's 290-something pounds. So this will be 5 of the biggest bodies that we've seen to this point. I thought A&M, the left side of their offensive line, they had 2 really big guys, but these guys are really big. So, that creates a different dynamic in terms of pass rush. It also creates sometimes some vision issues, especially for your second-level players, because these guys are so big. The problem they've had is they haven't been able to consistently run the football. So if we can control the line of scrimmage, again, with 4 and drop 7, we feel pretty good about handling this quarterback. But, the scary thing is if you step up in coverage and he does launch one over your head, all of a sudden he's created a big play. And he's done that in every game. It's just sometimes the situation they're in a tough spot. Either they're behind the chains or they've created turnovers before, or against A&M, they were so far behind. But it creates a different dynamic, a lot because of who he is, but also because of how big this offensive line is.
Right, and obviously we've talked a lot about the defense this year, and deservedly so, but the offense has really, started to gain some steam these past couple weeks. For that group, what's the biggest thing that you'd like to see them accomplish out there, on Friday, aside from helping y'all get the win?
Well, we got to continue to run the football, because we know at some point, whether it's the remainder of our district schedule the good thing for us after this one, we get an open week to where we can kind of heal some bumps and bruises and kind of refocus on some things that we feel like we need to get better at. But, the ability to be able to control the line of scrimmage and controlling it's not always knocking people off the ball. But we've been able to do a little bit of both of those now, especially the last 2 weeks. And, again, that that gives Coach Brewer and our offensive staff, and it gives AJ a few more options every time we go out there, because you can't just say, okay, we're going to be in 4 wides, or we're going to be in 5 wides, or we're going to be in 2 tights. We've created enough packages with some of the same personnel on the field that it gives AJ a lot more options.
We're talking to head coach Rodney Southern here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. Rob Hipp back here. Coach, final question here in this first half and our second break, our second segment, if you will. Just as I always ask you every week, Coach, overall health right now and how have practices been?
Well, we were actually, practice-wise this week has been good. We today was really good. We lifted this morning and the afternoon's usually about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and we had a really good film session on our kicking game. So, we've done what we've needed to do coming out of a big win like that. Now, we got some people bumped and bruised. We didn't play Justin Butcher last week because of a little tweak in his ankle, and we will kind of watch him all the way up to kickoff and see what we want to do with him in terms of how much he will play. But everybody else is, we're as close to full strength as we're going to be at this point.
Well, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. I'm missing being in person tonight. Normally when we're over at HEB, I always say, all right, everybody, and everybody claps and cheers. So, it's a little more quiet here, but we're looking forward to being back over at HEB next week. But, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Good luck coming up on Friday night. Can't wait to get out there and be on the call for that one. And our kids are doing so wonderful. Thanks for all that you do, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Once again, that was head coach Rodney Southern here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. We'll step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll start interviewing some of our student athletes. We're going to hear from offensive lineman junior Trey Garrett coming up when we come back. Stay with us, friends. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly. True Texas Barbecue presents the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Rob Hipp and head coach Rodney Southern live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Come early as seating will be limited. Sting 'em Hornets.
Sam Houston Electric Cooperative is focused on you, our consumer members. That's why we work day in and day out to keep your electricity costs affordable. In fact, our recent power costs are some of the lowest in the past decade. Sam Houston Electric Cooperative, your trusted source for power and information.
Welcome back, friends, live tonight here remotely. And we want to thank, as always, our good friends at True Texas Barbecue for helping to make the Hornet Nation Coaches Show possible. I'm your show host and play-by-play voice of the Hornets, Rob Hipp. Again, thanks for joining us as we bring in now our third segment here, interviewing some of our players, our student athletes, and we want to bring on Mr. Trey Garrett. Trey, can you hear us? How you doing tonight, young man?
Good.
Well, Trey Garrett is joining us, a junior on the team. Trey, I know the connection a little bit slow there, so we'll try to get through this and make sure that it works. But, Trey, you're a junior this year, man. What has this experience been like? Tell us a little bit just about how much you're enjoying being on the varsity side of things now, man.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a different speed than JV and freshman. It's a lot more physical. It's a lot more competition. But it's all right because we have the best defense. So we got the best look so far. So we're gonna be good.
Talk a little bit about your role on the team. You're only a junior, a lot of leadership there with the seniors, but you've got a big role as well. Talk a little bit about that and just what you do there on that side of the ball.
Okay, with my role, I got to make sure I get the ball to the quarterback every play consistently without messing up. Then I have to step back and try to block for him. Make sure he has enough time to make his decision in the backfield. As long as you get that done, then you're going to be successful offensively.
We're talking to Trey Garrett. You know, Trey, it's got you listed, of course, as the offensive lineman, but you're right there as a center. That's a really important role. How did you become the center, man? Tell us a little bit about that. Just kind of how did that work out, and how did you fall into that role, Trey?
I mean, it just happened. I mean, one day they needed a center to go in. They wanted to see if I could snap, and I could snap. And then ever since then, I had the position. Not much.
Well, you're doing a great job. Your offensive line and the offense is really starting to come together. I'll bring Josh Criswell, the Huntsville item, in here in just a moment. A final couple of questions, or a final question for me for now before I bring Josh on, though, is, talking about this offense this year, you guys are now starting to find a little bit of rhythm over these last two games. What do you feel about that? How have things on the offensive side been over these last two games, and that protection for AJ and your running backs? Let us know about that.
I mean, it's good. We've all been on the same page, each play, finishing plays with each other. Teams, they get enough time and everything. So if that's good, then we're good.
Well, Josh Criswell is joining us now from the Huntsville item. Josh, I'll hand it over to you.
Hey, Trey. Yeah. So, just another question I had for you going off, what Rob had to say is, you've taken over this role as the starting center, and that offensive line's really started to come together your first year on the varsity squad. But for you, these past few years, as an underclassman at Huntsville High, who are some of those former Hornets that you really looked up to earlier in your high school career?
For sure, Dylan Brooks, Bryce Jefferson, some of the different older guys I looked up to.
I got you. And, obviously, I'm sure you've gone up against those guys in practice, and, another group of guys you go up against in practice every day is that defensive line of y'all's. Y'all have said that y'all have the best defensive line in the state, and the statistics, seem to definitely put y'all in that conversation. But for y'all as an offensive line, how much has it helped y'all grow? I think 4 new pieces on that O-line. How much has it helped y'all grow this year going up against that level of competition every single day in practice?
It helped us by knowing that we're not going to beat them every play, because we know they're really good at what they do. And if we try as hard as we can with them, and if we slow them down or stop them as much as we can, they're better than anyone else we're going to go against. So it's going to be easier with them than it is with our defense line.
Well, we're talking here to Trey Garrett, the junior center here for the Huntsville Hornets. I'm Rob Hipp alongside Josh Criswell. Trey, man, you've already answered some of your role models. I want to ask you, man, looking forward to the game coming up on Friday at Lamar Consolidated. What are you most excited about, young man?
The win. That's really
everybody really looking forward to that, and you guys are starting out playing really well. This is a question, Trey, that I asked all the young men during our show. Huntsville, being a Hornet, it's a really awesome thing to be a Huntsville Hornet. I want to ask you, what does it mean to you to wear that Huntsville Hornet jersey?
It means that we're held to a higher standard than a lot of other teams in our state, district. I mean, we get to wear that.
What are some of your hobbies, man? What do you like to do outside of football? We know there got to be something outside of football, man. What do you like to do?
I like to sleep. I mean, be on my phone, do my homework. Yeah, most definitely. Do my homework. I love doing
That's
that.
Smart
That's
answer.
a good answer there, Trey. Good answer, man. Well, last couple of questions here. Future plans, Trey. Where do you want to be, man? Where do you see yourself? What would you like to be doing after high school?
After high school, if football is not the way that I go, if I don't have a scholarship, I'd like to go off and weld somewhere, make some good money like that.
That's a good industry to be in, man. Travion, got a last question here for you. Camera's right there on you tonight. Obviously, we're doing everything remotely. Who do you want to send a shout out to tonight over we're on video, of course, but we're also out over the FM airwaves on 101.7 here in Huntsville. Who do you want to send a shout-out to tonight, young man?
I'd like to send a shout out to my team, my family. I mean, the coaches, the ones that push us the most. And that's really it.
Awesome. Well, Trey, thanks for being a part of our program, man. Looking forward to the game coming up on Friday. We're excited for you guys. Keep up the great work, young man. We're all rooting behind the entire team and you, and just very excited. Thanks for being with us tonight, Trey.
You're welcome.
Well, once again, that was Trey Garrett. Josh, good to talk to these young men. You know, we get to hear so many wonderful stories and hear their hobbies and what they enjoy most. It's been a fun night so far interviewing. We got another interview coming up, though.
Yeah, absolutely got another good interview coming up. But, just one thing I wanted to say before we move on from Trey is that, a lot of new pieces. I think they had something like 17 or 18 new starters on this Huntsville Hornet team this year. Whenever I talked to Huntsville head coach Rodney Southern during the summer about guys that have really stepped up into their larger roles this season, Trey's name was always one of the first 2 or 3 that he mentioned. So excited to get him on the show. But, coming up next, got a guy that stepped into some big shoes himself this year, and that's going to be Jaden Ross, senior linebacker for your Huntsville Hornets.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get Jaden connected. I was looking here. We're doing everything remotely tonight, and it says that he's currently not connected, and so we'll try to make sure that we can get him queued up. It looks like he's reconnecting, so we'll have him on here in just a little bit. For now, though, we'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from senior linebacker Jaden Ross. Stay with us, friends. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show on the all-new Hornet Nation Broadcast Network.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly. True Texas Barbecue presents the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Rob Hipp and head coach Rodney Southern live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Come early as seating will be limited. Sting 'em Hornets.
We will all experience that time in life when we'll say goodbye to a loved one. When that time comes, you want someone who understands, someone that will look after your loved one, and that someone is Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
I'm Larry Graves. We are committed to serving your needs with sincerity and respect. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, 1700 Normal Park, 936-291-7300.
Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, serving you in your time of need.
B-I-L-C-O, B-I-L-C-O.
We all know this year has been unpredictable. That's why Bilco Air Conditioning and Heating is prepped for fall and ready for any new norm, extreme weather event, or storm. Our unstoppable train equipment is tested to run. COVID safety protocols? You bet. Experience? Try 30 years. Call 936-646-6691 or visit BilcoAir.com to learn more.
B-I-L-C-O and Bilco is the way on.
Welcome back, friends. We are live tonight remotely as we are talking here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. I'm Rob Hipp. Thanks for joining us as always. We have the show every single Wednesday night at 6:30. Most of the time you can be there live with us at True Texas Barbecue. Tonight, though, doing everything remotely and looking forward to being back at True Texas next week. This is a show where we talk about the Huntsville Hornets. We hear from coaching staff such as Coach Rodney Southern, who we heard from earlier in the show. We talk to players, interviews, and much more. And now, without further delay, as we enter our fourth segment now on defense, it's senior linebacker, Mr. Jaden Ross. Jaden, what's going on, young man? Can you hear us okay tonight?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, Jaden, good to see you, man. This has been just a fun season so far, and your role on the team there at linebacker. Before we dig into it, what has this season been like for you so far, man? We'll just have a little personal chit-chat for a little bit. What's this season been like so far for you?
It's been fun. Taking each game one at a time, taking each practice one at a time, working out, studying film. It's been fun for me lately. So yeah.
What is going through this whole COVID as well? What have been some of the challenges this year that you've had to face, and how have you been able to overcome those
challenges? Just preparing for the season upcoming, because we was out for like 5 months before, so yeah, we still had to prepare, but we came back in June and we started working out more. So yeah, I think it was preparation part, but I overcame it because we good now to the point we're at right now. I think I did a good job, and the whole team did a good job.
You know, we've been through several games, of course, this season, through 2 district games so far. Last week, man, a very impressive win. Your defense, 11 sacks on that. I was joking around with Coach earlier. I said, we got to put a new town on the map and call it Sack City. How impressed have you been with your defense, man? And just tell us a little bit about those guys and how much you've enjoyed that role this year on the defensive side.
I've been really impressed from the D-line. Of course, they take pressure from me. They make it easy for me playing linebacker position. So having Ed, Q, and Brian, it's been easy for me to play the position at the level I'm playing at right now. So, yeah, I think they done a good job of doing it.
We're talking to senior linebacker Jaden Ross here. Jaden, a senior this year, what has that leadership been like for you now as a senior on the varsity squad? Tell us a little bit about that and just your role on the team.
You know, being, a leader, for the guys that's coming up and for the lower classmen that watch me, I know they watch me. So I'm held to a higher standard, and the coaches expect me to do what they're expecting me doing. So, I just go out there and just give them my all every day.
Well, again, we're talking to Jaden Ross. I got one more question before Josh comes on. Playing linebacker, how'd you fall into that role? What do you like most about it, man?
It's just the contact and physicality, I think, and just coming to play. I started playing linebacker since 7th grade. So I just started falling in the role, and I started loving each day I started playing linebacker, and it just got easier and funner for me. So, I still enjoy it. And,
We'll bring on Josh Criswell, the Huntsville Item. Josh?
Jaden, how's it going? Josh Criswell, the Huntsville Item here. You and Rob were just talking about taking on a leadership role this season, and obviously you stepping in and taking over for one of the biggest leaders of this team the past 2 years, and that's Jordan Brown, now playing at the University of North Texas at the college level. Jaden, for you, how much did you look up to Jordan, and what were some of the things that he helped teach you to kind of step in and hit the ground running this season?
He taught me the mental aspect of the game. He move around before the play even started. He'll know what the offense gonna do before they did it, and I just took notice of that, and it was fun watching them because I was looking out and I was like, I was gonna be in that position a year later, which I am now. So I was in awe watching them, really.
Right, and this defense, y'all have made a case for sure as the top defense in all of Class 5A, maybe the entire state, averaging just over 10 points a game and shutting down 2 of the top offenses in the entire state, during y'all's first 2 district games. But, for me, at least looking back, it looks like there was a turning point, in that final game before league play. Y'all were going up against C.E. King, holding on to, I think it was a 5-point lead late in the final minute. But they had 1st and goal, and then y'all have that goal line stand, stopping them, I think, 3 consecutive plays inside the 3-yard line to help get that win. For this defense, how much of a turning point and how much of a confidence booster was it for this group to win that game against the 6A opponent, one of the best in the Houston area, and to essentially do it on y'all's backs because, y'all rose to the occasion and made the stop with the game on the line?
It boosted our confidence a lot because it showed, we could stick with any team in the state, really. It was a 6A team. Coach was expecting no lift from us, and we just went on to deliver it.
Pop back in here, doing things remotely, popping back in here. Josh, did you have any other questions for Jaden?
No, I think, that's all I got for you. Just one thing before I go, we've talked a lot about that defensive line this year, but one group, we've got to give a shout out to is that secondary. A lot of new pieces, but a lot of guys that have really come along. Jaden, what's the thing that's impressed you the most about those guys that play behind you out there?
Them just moving silent, I think. They ball hawks. I think every one of them are ball hawks, especially Tank and Ethan, Jared and Waylon. They done a great job so far, and I think they can get better. I'm not saying they're bad or nothing, but I'm saying they can get better. But yeah.
Well, we're talking to Jaden Ross here, senior linebacker for the Huntsville Hornets. Jaden, I got to ask you, man. It's time to maybe call out one of your teammates. Who's the biggest jokester on that defensive side, man? Who's the big joke guy on the team?
It's got to be Tank or Q. I think it's between them two, really. Probably Ed, but I think it's out Tank or Q. I think so.
Well, there's great chemistry on that defensive side, and we've talked a little bit about that tonight. Tell us a little bit more just about that chemistry that you have with your defensive teammates, man. It's been something fun to watch this season. Josh mentioned arguably one of the top defenses now in 5A, if not the state of Texas. What has that relationship and that friendship and that brotherhood been like for you this season, young man?
It's been relieving. It's been fun, like I said earlier. They know, what I'm capable of. I know what they're capable of, so they just sit back and we relax. I think we're a relaxed defense. We just take one play at a time, and I think we've done a good job so far.
You touched base on this earlier. Just wanted to expand on some role models. Who do you look up to in your life, man? Who's just somebody or maybe a group of people, maybe somebody out there that you've looked up to that you can attribute to with your success and where you've been so far, young man?
I gotta say my dad. He seen me put on the football helmet. I don't know how long it's been, but he seen me from that point to where I'm at now, and he's been my number one coach at home. So you got to go to my dad.
Awesome. Well, final couple questions here from me. I ask this to every one of you guys. It's so important. Huntsville Hornet wearing that jersey. You're lucky, too, because you didn't get to be on the first show or the second show, so now you may know some of these commercials. Maybe you're getting prepped for them, but what does it mean to you to wear that Huntsville Hornet jersey, Jaden?
It feels like I'm part of a family, really, and a brotherhood. And I have this sense of support from the fans, the community, the city of Huntsville. I have this sense of support from everyone, like just watching, and I feel like they're there with us.
Some of your hobbies, what do you like to do outside of football?
Outside of football, I enjoy working out, lifting weights, playing video games. I enjoy going to church every Sunday, and that's about it.
What about homework, man? Trey over there saying homework was one of his hobbies,
Yeah, homework, it's easy, though. But it ain't not too complicated, though.
Well, Jaden, future plans, man. Where do you want to be after high school? You're a senior now. That's going to be coming up quick, but, don't forget about this year. A lot of times I think when you're a senior, sometimes you start thinking too far ahead, and you've still got a lot of high school left, man. But where do you want to be after you graduate? What are some of your plans?
If I'm blessed with the opportunity to play collegiate football, then I'll do that. But other plans, probably I would like to be an architect or take some type of construction field, be a construction manager, and I'll start a family at that point.
Man, that's great. A question I like to ask once in a while too. 30 years from now, you may be on YouTube and you search your name, and this video pops up 30 years from now. What would you tell yourself going into the future and looking back 30 years from now? What would you say to yourself, Jaden?
I would say you're doing great so far, and just keep pushing, just keep grinding.
That's awesome, man. Well, final question. Camera's right there on you. We've got, looking at the numbers here, 2.8 million people now on the stream, Jaden. 2.8 million people watching. Who do you want to send a shout-out to tonight from Huntsville, Texas, young man?
My family and friends, teammates, coaches that's watching right now. Shout out to all y'all.
Awesome. Well, Jaden, been a lot of fun. Looking forward to the game coming up on Friday. We wish you guys continued success. This whole community is behind you here in Huntsville, and we just enjoy what you guys are doing. Win or lose, we're always going to be there for you and continue to rally behind you. Jaden, good to talk to you, young man.
Yes, sir, Rob. Thank you.
Well, once again, that was Jaden Ross. Always great to hear from these young men. We'll step aside and take a break. When we come back, it's our final segment as we will wrap things up and continue to talk about the game coming up on Friday. Stay with us, friends. This is Huntsville Sports. Beg your pardon, this is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. We'll be right back here in just a few moments.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly. True Texas Barbecue presents the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Rob Hipp and head coach Rodney Southern live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Come early as seating will be limited. Sting 'em Hornets.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking directly to you. Do you want to know a secret? Well, the secret is already out. CBD American Shaman is now open in Huntsville with top-of-the-line customer service and world-class CBD products available. Why would you ever go anywhere else? So go by today and try a free sample while talking with your personal certified CBD consultant about what products are perfect for you. Located at 1215 Sam Houston Avenue, right across from Sam Houston Antique Mall, or shop online at AmericanShamanHuntsville.com.
Well, welcome back, friends, as we wrap up the final segment here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. We'll make this one quick. It's been a fun night tonight so far. Again, thanks for joining us. I'll bring back onto the broadcast Josh Criswell of the Huntsville Item. Josh, great interviews with those young men, with Trey Garrett, Jaden Ross. You and I have our Huntsville Sports Weekly show usually every week, and I'm so used to doing that with you remotely that I've caught the tail of that there for a second. But, Josh, a lot of fun tonight. Great to hear from these young men. Just some of your final takeaways before we sign off tonight.
Yeah, great hearing from Coach Southern and the guys, but just kind of looking ahead to Friday's game against Lamar Consolidated. I think obviously we look at it on paper. Lamar Consolidated is a team that hasn't won a game all year. Huntsville's the number 4 team in the entire state. I think all signs point towards a blowout win for the Hornets. So for me, there's 2 things in particular I want to see. I think it's safe to say the Huntsville is going to get their defense is going to get theirs. They're going to get it done on that side of the ball. I think for the 2 things I really want to see with the offense, can the Hornets keep that running game going, especially if Justin Butcher's out there to complement Jalen McClain this week. I want to see them try to get near 200 yards of rushing or more. And another thing I want to see, too, going over the passing game, I want to see how much A.J. Wilson continues to grow under center. He had a couple of rocky starts there, during that middle stretch, late stretch in non-district play. But, man, he's really got it going once league play began, with I think last week probably being his most efficient performance all season long. Hit Jordan Woodbury for a couple of touchdowns. Now I'm looking to see, who are some of those other guys, some of those receiving weapons that he's going to be able to spread the ball out to.
Well, there's a lot of offensive weapons. We know about the defense and how great they are. We're looking forward to the game on Friday. We'll have the coverage, of course, live with a 7 p.m. pregame, 7:30 kickoff live from Lamar Consolidated. So make sure to join us. We'll also have it on video on the all-new Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. Josh, it's always good to have you, man, and thanks for being in tonight on a little bit of a new technology thing going remote here with the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. Good to have you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Once again, that was Josh Criswell. I'm Rob Hipp, friends. I want to say thank you again to Trey Garrett, also Jaden Ross for joining us, as always, athletic director and head coach Rodney Southern, and the fine work that he does with our kids here in Huntsville. I'm Rob Hipp, reminding you tonight, friends, that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. Big thanks to Steve Ricks back at the KSAM studios. And even though we're remote, on the count of 3, say it with me. We're going to say Sting 'em Hornets. 1, 2, 3. Sting 'em Hornets. Good night, and God bless Huntsville. We'll see you Friday.
True Texas Barbecue, smoked with Texas oak wood for up to 14 hours. Barbecue by the plate or pound, plus delicious sides like brisket, beans, creamed corn, potato salad, and coleslaw. Hungry? Stop by True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Voted best barbecue chain in Texas the past 2 years by Texas Monthly. True Texas Barbecue presents the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Rob Hipp and head coach Rodney Southern live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Come early as seating will be limited. Sting 'em Hornets.
KSAM Huntsville, broadcasting live from the